Welcome back. We are diving into Chapter 9 of Born a Crime. This chapter revolves around this one giant mulberry tree at the end of a street in a neighborhood called Eden Park. In this chapter, it's a place that teach him one of the hardest lessons of his life. Now, let's dive in. This sentence perfectly captures the problem young Trevor was facing. He had already been an outsider in white neighborhoods and in black townships. But in Eden Park, a so-called colored neighborhood, he was about to realize something new, what it feels like to be an outsider even inside a place where he's supposed to belong. And that kind of isolation hits differently. You'd think this would be the place where he finally fit in. Everyone looked like him, and for the first time, he was in a community of mixed-race kids like himself. But instead of belonging, he felt even more isolated. So what was really causing that sense of loneliness? To understand what happens next, we need to understand the complex identity of colored people under apartheid. It wasn't a simple label. They were not considered black and not considered white, but placed in between. This group often spoke Afrikaans and had cultural ties that overlapped with white Afrikaner society, yet they were never fully accepted by it. This created a major dilemma for Trevor. On the surface, his skin color matched the colored community, but culturally, he didn't fully fit in. He spoke English, Xhosa, and Zulu, and he was proud of that. However, in a place where many people were encouraged to value whiteness more highly, his connection to black culture was sometimes seen as a rejection of his own group. As a result, he often felt like an outsider, even among people who were supposed to be like him. Before we even get to the mulberry tree, there was another incident that set the stage for everything. It involved a stolen bicycle, and it shows just how vulnerable Trevor was at the time and how badly he wanted to make even one friend. This story shows just how naive Trevor still was. He was so excited that a girl was talking to him that he didn't notice what was really going on. He thought he was finally making a connection, but he was actually being set up and taken advantage of. The key point is that Trevor was completely out of his depth. He couldn't handle the situation on his own and needed his tougher older cousin to step in and protect him. This constant feeling of being vulnerable and targeted sets the stage for the more serious conflict at the mulberry tree. And that brings us to the main event of the chapter. One afternoon, Trevor is alone by a mulberry tree in the neighborhood, quietly picking berries and enjoying a rare moment of peace. But that calm doesn't last. Out of nowhere, a group of kids launches a sudden, coordinated attack on him, turning a simple, quiet afternoon into a tense and painful confrontation that changes everything. A boy, the ringleader of a group of older kids, walks up to him. For a split second, Trevor feels that same hope he had with the bicycle incident. Maybe this time, he's finally making a friend. But that question is only the beginning. It quickly turns into something much more hostile. The ringleader suddenly knocks the berries out of Trevor's hand and stomps on them. Trevor, used to being picked on, initially tries to brush it off, but that only makes the situation worse. The ringleader gets angrier and starts yelling insults, including stupid bushy, a cruel slur meant to mock his black ancestry. And then it starts splat. A berry hits the back of Trevor's head, then another hits his face. Suddenly the whole group begins throwing berries at him. Some are unripe and hard, stinging like little rocks when they hit. Within seconds, it becomes a full-on attack coming from every direction. He is completely overwhelmed, scared, and in pain with no idea how to respond. All he can do is cover his face and run. He sprints all the way home, crying as he goes. So picture this. Trevor bursts into the house, crying his eyes out and covered head to toe in what looks like blood, but is actually purple berry juice. He's met with two very different reactions from his mom and her boyfriend, Abel. This moment becomes a turning point. Patricia quickly realizes Trevor isn't actually injured and she bursts out laughing from relief. She even makes a joke, which only makes Trevor more upset. But Abel reacts very differently. He listens in cold, silent anger. He doesn't laugh or comfort him, he just watches. And you can feel his rage building in a way that suggests something much worse is coming. Feeling betrayed by his mother's laughter, Trevor makes a fateful decision. He knows Abel has a violent side that scares him, but in his anger, he decides to use that danger against the boys who attacked him. Instead of letting it go, he chooses to set up a situation where Abel's rage will be directed at them. Trevor leads Abel back to the mulberry tree. The boys try to run when they see them coming, but Abel is incredibly fast. He catches the ringleader, drags him back, and breaks off a branch from the same tree where the attack happened. He then uses it to whip the boy harshly and without stopping. In that first moment, Trevor feels pure satisfaction. He watches his bully get punished and admits he has never felt anything quite like it. The revenge feels incredibly sweet, and for a moment it seems like justice has been done. But that feeling doesn't last. Almost as quickly as the satisfaction of revenge arrives, it starts to fade. It turns into something uncomfortable and disturbing, especially when Trevor sees the look on the other boy's face. That moment forces him to see the situation in a completely different way. He sees the absolute terror in the boy's eyes, and it hits him hard. Dear God, what have I done, he thinks. In that moment, he realizes Abel isn't teaching a lesson or delivering justice. He is simply a grown man unleashing his rage on a child. And Trevor understands that he is the one who set it all in motion. Abel drags the boy over and forces him to apologize. But Trevor can see it isn't really an apology for throwing berries. The boy is apologizing for everything he has ever done out of pure terror. It's a fear so intense that Trevor has never seen anything like it before. And the cycle of violence doesn't end there. Later, the boy's father comes to confront Abel and defend his family's honor. But Abel stands his ground, gets right in his face, and calmly says, "I will kill you." The father immediately backs down and leaves, likely relieved just to get out of the situation safely. And this is the final crucial point of the chapter. Looking into his bully's terrified eyes, Trevor doesn't see a monster. He sees a reflection of himself. He sees another child shaped by a system that teaches people how to hate sometimes, even how to hate themselves. And that is the ultimate lesson of the mulberry tree. What began as a search for revenge turns into a moment of deep empathy. Trevor realizes his bully is just another link in a long chain of pain and violence. It forces him to question where all that hatred really comes from and how it keeps getting passed on. Trevor learns that people are often shaped by the systems and pain they come from, not just by their actions in a single moment. And that realization follows him forward as he continues to grow up in a world where understanding others is never simple, but always necessary. In the next chapter, we'll see how these lessons continue to shape the way he moves through different spaces and identities. If you'd like more personalized feedback, writing support, and discussion sessions, they're available with me or with our selected tutors. All the details are here.